Jamaal Bowman, why in the world would you pull a fire alarm in the House office building when there's no fire right before you guys are set to vote on the government spending bill? Let's talk about it. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about U.S. House Rep Jamaal Bowman, a Democrat from New York, who pulled a fire alarm in the House office building right before they were set to vote for the government spending bill. Now, ultimately, the bill did get voted on and it passed for now. It's kind of a stopgap measure. But the accusation against Mr. Bowman is that he pulled the fire alarm to disrupt the proceedings. Now, he says it was an accident. The door was locked and I was trying to get out. Before we even get into all the details and whatnot, I'm not buying the story about him being confused because Jamaal Bowman was a former middle school principal. Okay. So if anybody knows about what a fire alarm does, it's going to be a guy like him. That's probably going to be the first place where all of us learned what a fire alarm is and what it does. So I'm not buying his story at all. I think he was trying to disrupt the proceedings, and it's pretty serious doing things like that. Pulling the fire alarm, no fire. You're trying to disrupt things. It's been escalated to the police because, of course, they're going to get called out there. There's an investigation going on. This is a pretty serious thing. Now, before I go any further into it, let's go ahead and watch a news clip. If you want to see this clip in full without my commentary, link, as always, will be in the description. If you're on IG, visit the link in the bio, go to the corresponding article on the website. But without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
A government shutdown is not the only issue on lawmakers' minds tonight. Just before the House passed the stopgap spending bill this afternoon, Democratic Congressman Jamaal Bowman pulled a fire alarm inside the Capitol. The New York Democrat says it was an accident, but he's already facing backlash from his Republican colleagues, including a possible investigation by lawmakers on a House committee that oversees the Capitol Police.
Violated the exact same law that January 6 defendants are being prosecuted for.
Let's pause right there. January 6. A lot of the January 6 guys are being prosecuted through a similar thing that Jamaal Bowman violated. So if there's no penalty, nothing toward him, then a lot of the guys who are being prosecuted right now for January 6th should go ahead and just be let go, set free. They should be vindicated. They most certainly should be. Either it's okay to do or it's not. If it's not, then it's not. And if it is, then it is. But let's have one standard be there for everyone and not just for those who are political opponents of the party in power. But let's keep on going.
Every single day.
His initial explanation that was an accident doesn't seem to really pass muster.
This should not go without punishment. You pulled a fire alarm in a minute of hours before the government being shut down, trying to dictate that government would shut down? What's going through a person's mind like that?
It deserves to be investigated, and in normal times, this would be considered a much bigger deal. The problem now is you have people, look, people are comparing it to January 6th. So does that mean that in a couple of weeks, Kevin McCarthy is going to be okay with it? Because he's okay with January 6th now.
Either it's okay or it's not. So if McCarthy says that this is okay, then everyone must, if McCarthy says this is okay, what Jamaal Bowman did, and you guys on the left agree, then you guys must also agree that it's okay when the January 6ers did it. It can't be this double standard. Let's have one standard be for all of us.
Right? The people who are most active about comparing to January 6th are the ones who are most forgiving of January 6th, which is a weird kind of locution. But it's a very serious thing, and this guy was a former middle school principal.
Yes.
They lecture little kids about not pulling fire alarms. There's no way he didn't know what a fire alarm is. So, got to hear his version of events, but it's a very strange story.
Okay, so that's the story right there. This is on CNN. This is their commentary on it, and then some of the news clips from people talking about what happened. Now, let's get into some of the details here. Jamaal Bowman issued a statement, and we can go ahead and throw it up on the screen and read that. This is, I guess, pretty important to read. All right, let's check it out. He says, I want to personally clear up confusion surrounding today's events. Today, as I was rushing to make a vote, I came to a door that is usually open for votes, but today would not open. I am embarrassed to admit that I activated the fire alarm, mistakenly thinking it would open the door. So he thought by pulling the fire alarm that's clearly labeled fire on the wall, not on the door, but he thought by pulling the fire alarm that the alarm wouldn't go off and instead it will open the door. I mean, are you buying that? Again, this guy is a former middle school principal. He'll be the person that would lecture children on how a fire alarm operates. So I'm just not really putting two and two together and getting four on this one, but let's keep on going. I regret this and sincerely apologize for any confusion this caused. But I want to be very clear. This was not me in any way trying to delay any vote. It was the exact opposite. I was trying urgently to get to a vote, which I ultimately did, and join my colleagues in a bipartisan effort to keep our government open. I also met after the vote with the Sergeant at Arms and the Capitol Police at their request. So again, it's not some kind of small thing. Now you got an investigation going on. They're interviewing you. This is kind of serious here, right? Let's keep on going. So at their request, met with the Sergeant at Arms, Capitol Police, and explained what had happened. My hope is that no one will make more of this than it was. I'm working hard every day, including today, to do my job, to do it well, and deliver for my constituents. Peace and love. So that's the statement from Jamaal Bowman, which came out on yesterday, September 30th, 2023. That was Saturday, correct? Yes, that was on Saturday. Now, let's get to a little bit more here. Okay, you see, this is a picture I showed you at the very beginning of Mr. Bowman pulling the fire alarm. You see there's a door right here. Okay, there's a fire alarm on the wall. He says he was confused. He pulled the fire alarm to get out. He thought it wouldn't sound the alarm. So you pulled the fire alarm thinking that it wouldn't sound the alarm. That makes no sense. He says that the sign on the door was confusing and the door was locked. Now we have a picture of the sign on the door. Okay, so now you see right here, there's a door, there's a sign right there. And we're going to look at that sign a little bit more closely. But here's the actual fire alarm. You see it clearly states fire. If you see something like that on the wall, do you think it's going to activate a door? Is it like pushing the button on a bookcase and it does 180, 360, it opens, you're able to get past it? Is that what's going to happen when you push, when you pull the alarm? Or is a fire alarm going to go off? Is that what's going to happen? I think anybody who understands what this is knows how it operates. And again, a middle school principal would know that more than the average person in the population, from my point of view. And if I'm wrong, y'all please correct me in the comments. Now, here's what the sign says. Emergency exit only. Push until alarm sounds, 3 seconds. Door will unlock in 30 seconds. So, with a fire alarm, first of all, the fire alarm is on the wall. It's not right there on the door. It's two different places, okay? Two different places. As a matter of fact, let's go back a little bit. So, you see, this is the sign right here. Now, common sense says, if this says push, you're talking about pushing this right here, the door, all right? You got to push the door open. There's no handle to open it by pulling it. You have to push the door to open it. The sign is right there on the place where you will push the door. Obviously, they're talking about pushing the door. They're not talking about pulling the fire alarm. So either Jamaal Bowman is a liar or a moron or a combination of both. He might be a moron because the sign is pretty clear. Okay, it says push until alarm sounds, 3 seconds. Door will unlock in 30 seconds. All right. And surely there was a different way to get out of this particular location. What you're not going to do is pull the fire alarm on the wall. That doesn't make any sense. You know that the alarm's going to go off if you pull the fire alarm. So if the alarm was going to go off by pushing the door, that is, I guess you would say, I guess it's okay, rather than pulling a fire alarm. So I'm not really buying what he did. I think that this is, at best, incompetence. At worst, you're just trying to delay the vote. Either way it goes, this is really ridiculous to do something like this. I mean, you got the police involved. It's an investigation. Okay, we're dealing with security. We're talking about a capital area. They're talking about January 6th and wanting to keep things safe and secure. Meanwhile, you got members of Congress that can't even operate doors and fire alarms. And again, you are a middle school principal. You should know this stuff more than anybody. You are the one lecturing children and teaching the staff how to operate these kind of things. So I'm not really buying the whole thing about, oh, I was confused, I didn't know any better. As I close, I want to say this. Shout out to Jamaal Bowman. I'm not really buying the story. And if I am buying the story, that means you're a moron. And if you are a moron like that, then why are you in Congress again? You might want to go back to school and learn yourself and pick up some basic things about how to operate doors and fire alarms. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? What's your take on what happened here? Do you think that Jamaal Bowman is telling the truth, that it was a mistake, it was an accident? He pulled the fire alarm by mistake because the sign was too confusing. Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. Like I said, at best, incompetence. At worst, he's a stone cold liar. Either way it goes, I'm not really confident. If I was his constituent out there in New York City area, I would not be very confident in my congressman to do his job effectively. If you can't even operate a door and the fire alarm properly, then how are you going to make laws that are going to benefit me and my family? Not very confident at all. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.